to Eagle News International Australia Oceania. I am Raylene Roy Xavier from Brisbane, bringing news stories from Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. For the headlines, Australia's COVID vaccine rollout Phase 2A starts. Medi hotels feel pressure from sudden COVID spike in Adelaide. Victoria classifies Perth and Peel region as orange zones. Dalby show returns with a bang after pandemic. Townsville's Billabong Sanctuary attracts tourists. And Filipino boxer wins Asian featherweight world title in Papua New Guinea. Let's kick off with some COVID-19 updates in Australia. As the world awaits on news of COVID vaccine rollouts, Australia is now on Phase 2A. To find out more on what this means and what it looks like, let's hear from our Eagle News correspondent, Alyssa Ventura. Alyssa?
The month of May will mark the start of Phase 2A of the COVID vaccine rollout here in Australia. This phase will introduce new priority groups that are eligible for the vaccine. On May 3, 2021, people who are 50 years old and over were able to receive the AstraZeneca vaccine at general respiratory clinics and state and territory vaccination clinics. This will be followed by participating general practices from May 17, 2021. There is an allocated 15.8 million doses for this phase. According to the Australian Department of Health, the priority groups that are eligible for Phase 2A are adults aged 50 years and above, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander adults aged 18 to 49 years old, and other critical and high-risk workers. Those who were qualified during the previous phases who have yet to receive the vaccine may be able to do so in this phase. As of the 29th of April 2021, there have been approximately 2.2 million total doses of vaccine administered in the country, including an increase of around 70,000 doses in the past 24 hours. Everyone in Australia can check their eligibility online by using the COVID vaccine eligibility checker. Reporting from Townsville, Australia, this is Alyssa Ventura. Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Alyssa. It's good to see Australia progressing with the rollout. Meanwhile, in South Australia, Medi hotels or hotels used as isolation facilities feel pressure from sudden COVID spike in Adelaide. Our correspondent Gladys D. David will give us more details. Gladys?
South Australia has continuously held the title of low number of cases from overseas travelers and no locally transmitted cases. This led to the abolishment of major restrictions in the state. However, with the increase of travelers returning, a spike alarmed the Medi hotels, pressuring them to take extra precautions.
The state government has allowed 530 returnees to fly back every week. And there are 34,000 more South Australians looking forward to coming home. Growing concerns arose just a few days ago as the last several rounds of flights to South Australia garnered an increase to the record of active cases, with the number being the biggest recorded since the lockdown in November.
Tom's Court Medi Hotel, which hosts those who are in quarantine, has a capacity of 90 rooms. This may seem to be a large amount of space with 32 cases recorded and sent to the hotel. The state government have decided to spread out the patients to prevent any issues arising similar with the hotel transmissions that happen in other states. This results for the Medi Hotel to be close to capacity with the number of patients.
Stephen Marshall noted that if cases were to increase in number, Medi hotels would be obliged to change their circumstances and make alterations to their process on how they service the patients without any possible transmissions to occur. He also stated that if they were to have continued spike with the COVID cases in quarantine, This would prompt a discussion with the federal government.
While it is inevitable that there are positive cases in the state, many hotels know the importance of strict procedures within their area. And this in return pressures all Medi-Hotel staff to be more careful and to make sure all protocols held in place are followed. Reporting from Adelaide, Australia, this is Gladys D. David, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Gladys. We hope Adelaide recovers soon. Now, in the state of Victoria, Perth and Peel region were classified as orange zones, which means medium risk coming from red or high risk. We will hear more details on what brought this change and what these imply in terms of restrictions from our Eagle News correspondent, Daryl Castillos. Go ahead, Daryl.
Health Minister Martin Foley announced that Perth and the Peel region will be reclassified from red zones to orange zones in Victoria on Wednesday, the 28th of April. Previously, Western Australia put in place a 3-day snap lockdown after a positive local virus was detected, prompting Victoria to close its borders. On Monday, the 25th of April, Western Australia concluded their lockdown after no further virus transmission. As a result, Victoria has classified Perth and the Peel region to orange zones, which entail new travel restrictions. According to authorities, regions classified as orange zones are deemed medium risk of transmission, thus allowing non-Victorians to travel into the state but requires testing and quarantine until they receive a negative result within 72 hours of arrival. Travelers from Perth who are currently in their 14-day quarantine in Victoria will be able to end their isolation early after receiving a negative test result. Travelers who entered Victoria when Perth and the Peel region were considered orange zones are able to finish their quarantine after receiving a negative result. On the other hand, those who entered Victoria when those regions were classified as red zones will need their clearance from the Department of Health. Reporting from Melbourne, Australia, this is Daryl Castillos, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Daryl, for keeping us updated on the restriction changes. After the break, we will hear about Dalby Show's first time back after the pandemic. And we will be taken on a tour to an award-winning ecotourism attraction in Townsville, the Billabong Sanctuary. And we will celebrate with a Filipino boxer who wins a World Boxing Association match in Papua New Guinea, bringing home a featherweight title. All these stories on Eagle News International Australia Oceania returns. Stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News International Australia Oceania. Still in Australia, this time in the town of Dalby, Queensland, the Dalby Show, a set of regularly organized entertainment events and activities, returned after the pandemic hit. Let's hear more details from our Eagle News correspondent, Trixie Camacho. Trixie?
In the small town of Dalby, many families and friends gathered from different places to celebrate the Dalby Show and participate in the rodeo.
The Dalby Show became one of the Queensland's most prominent agricultural shows as people from far and wide travelled to Dalby to take part in this excitement. This was held at the Dalby Showgrounds and many rides and entertainment stalls were at present. The event went on from 8:30 in the morning and 11:30 at night. To end of the evening, fireworks were set to light up the night. Visitors and residents in the area were following community and government guidelines. It is expected that they must register their arrival using Check-in Queensland app and scanning the QR codes provided. While having fun, the people must still adhere to physical distancing and follow the requirement to maintain a 1.5 meters distance from people not of their same household. They also must adhere to maximum capacity signs when entering buildings.
The Dalby Show was a success and made its big COVID comeback. Reporting from Dalby, Australia, this is Trixie Camacho, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Trixie. That sure looks like fun for friends and families alike. Now heading up to Townsville. More fun is to come up next as we take a peek onto the town's prized gems when it comes to tourism, the Billabong Sanctuary. Eagle News correspondent Morgan Goodfellow is our tour guide. Morgan?
30 years ago, Bob and Del Fleming stood at the edge of a bear paddock and had the ambitious dream to build their very own wildlife park. In March 1985, that dream became reality when Billabong Sanctuary in Townsville opened to the public. After spending 15 years of primary school teaching in Sydney, Bob Fleming decided it was time for a change. Selling everything they owned, Bob and Del made a move north with their 5-year-old son Brett in hopes of establishing a sanctuary for native animals in their natural habitats. Finding land along the edge of Townsville's Whites Creek, the Fleming family spent 2 years excavating a large permanent lagoon, planted thousands of native trees, laid 3 kilometres of irrigation pipe, built enclosures, and designed the Queenslander-style building to house a reception area and shop. Eventually, Townsville locals would come forward with offers of native animals. First to arrive were Todd and Judy, a pair of dingoes. The collection soon included an olive python, kangaroos, wallabies, echidnas, crocodiles, and an emu with attitude named Gonzo. The 2-hectare Billabong is the heart of the sanctuary, providing a year-round source of water in even the driest seasons. Billabong Sanctuary is now recognised as a fully accredited advanced ecotourism attraction and have welcomed around 1 million visitors, winning multiple awards over the years, culminating in the 2007 Queensland Tourism Award for Best Tourism Attraction. I was able to capture an interview with the curator of the sanctuary, Ray Stevens. Let's take a look at what he had to say. Alright Ray, thanks for taking part in our interview today. How long have you been the curator for Billabong Sanctuary?
So I've been curator here at the Billabong for about 3 years now. I first started as the senior ranger and then stepped up to the curator after about a year.
Right. And what's your favourite part about working at Billabong Sanctuary?
Favourite part about working here would be meeting all the different people every day, so it's never the same people, and the fact that no day is ever the same. Something always different happens.
Awesome. And how did Billabong Sanctuary begin?
How did it begin? So Bob and Del had a dream, I guess. Bob was a primary school teacher down in Sydney and wanted to move north, and his love of the environment and stuff, and this was the property that was available for them, and it was basically a cow paddock. So 36 years ago it was just grass, the odd tree down at the creek line, and that was it.
Right.
And the dam.
Perfect, thanks Ray, appreciate your time.
That's right.
Just as their humble beginnings, Billabong Sanctuary remains a family-owned and operated business, devoted to ensuring every visitor is welcomed, tending to their guests personally. Their continuous expansion is owed to their commitment of conservation, education, and entertainment. Reporting from Townsville, Australia, this is Morgan Goodfellow, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Morgan. We are looking forward to being able to physically visit soon. Moving now to Papua New Guinea. A Filipino boxer wins the Asian featherweight title in a match organized by the World Boxing Association, hosted in Papua New Guinea. Echo Hortaleza Quinola, our Port Moresby correspondent, will give us a story of this proud moment. Echo?
Filipinos in Papua New Guinea are rejoicing the victory of Roldan Aldea over his Papua New Guinean opponent, Junior Kalkaraka. Aldea claimed champion in the first Asia's World Boxing Association or WBA Super Featherweight title held in Surgeon Guy Stadium, Port Moresby. Dan Aldea, known as the Cobra, represented the Philippines under Elorde International Productions. He outscored Papua New Guinea's boxing title holder in the main bout, defeating his opponent over a unanimous decision in their 10 3-minute round bouts. Aldea, who has more than 20 professional bouts under his belt, threw strong punches to Raka, who currently has 4 professional bouts. When the battle heated up tremendously, Raka also struck out his hard punches but were not as solid as Aldea's. After a nerve-wracking but exciting fight, Aldea was proclaimed the champion.
WBA Super Featherweight Champion, Roldan Aldea!
Sobrang saya. Sobrang saya. Masarap sa pakiramdam eh. Ito yung preparation namin dito, sobrang tagal na to kasi dapat last year pa to eh. Tapos postpone dahil nga sa pandemic. Pero yung training namin tuloy-tuloy pa rin. Yung naman mga 3 months siguro yung preparation ko dito sa training na to. Kaya medyo maganda rin yung condition ko pagdating sa laban. Tama lang din. Kasi siya, pasugod siya ng pasugod eh. Pero napag-aralan na namin yun kasi pinanood ko yung laban niya dati. Sugod siya ng sugod. Fighter siya. Kaya yun ginawa naming technique. 1-2. Tapos lalabas in and out lang. Kasi pag makipagsabayan ako, mahihirapan ako sa kanya. Kasi ganun yung laro niya. Yung style niya. Medyo mahirap pag nakipag-fightiran ako.
Kung hihingi siya ng rematch, pagbibigyan mo ba siya?
Depende sa usapan nila ng manager ko. Sa negotiation naman nila yun eh. Ako, go ako kahit na anytime. Kahit saan nila gusto. Payag ako. Inspirasyon ko yung ito para sa pamilya ko to. Kasi gusto kong maiyahon yung pamilya ko sa hirap eh. Kaya nagsusubikap ako. Sa mga magulang ko, para sa inyo itong panalo ko.
The event was attended by Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister James Marape and other high-ranking officials. Sir Marape extended his support and acknowledgement to the organizers and the promoters of this tournament. The Managing Director of Ocean Fight Promotion of Papua New Guinea, Ms. Mary Ann Mill, and the Papua New Guinea Boxing Council President Ben Micah were both elated with the tournament's success and with the fighters' victory. They also announced that they are having arrangements and negotiations for the visitation of Manny Pacquiao to Papua New Guinea.
It was a very successful event. So far we have been trying to put things together to host the fight. It was, like I mentioned earlier, it was hard, but we still successfully host the game. The fight was, it triggers a lot of business houses and a lot of people that did not believe that we will host the fight, but we successfully hosted.
In this case, the boxers themselves, I must say that all the people who came to the stadium, those who watched on television, on live stream, were satisfied with the level of boxing put up by our local boxers amongst themselves in the undercut fights, plus the 2 international fights that involved 2 fighters from the Philippines. I believe that was the highlight of the event. Everyone, whether at the stadium or watching on TV or on live streaming, thoroughly enjoyed the very high level of boxing.
They were entertained.
Yes, they were entertained. Yes, we've had a relationship with LODE production since 2018 and 19. This is an highlight because it's a Filipino champion, I guess, champion of this title fight. So we prefer to fight with the Filipinos because in the same weight category. We already have an agreement signed between Manny Pacquiao and Oceania Fight Promotions for the fight to take place last year, but we are renegotiating to see if we can effect the event to take place towards the end of this year. So Manny Pacquiao's coming to PNG would be the highlight of all our events.
A historical.
And historical, and also it's gonna be the eye opener of all the other big boxers around the world that have names that we can always invite them and we can host the fights here.
And we are all looking forward to that.
Yes.
The Philippine Embassy invited the young champion and the Filipino boxing team to have a courtesy call with Philippine Ambassador Bienvenido Tejano. Tejano congratulated and expressed the pride and joy they have brought to the Philippines. He stated that Filipino boxers are assets and are truly loved by the country. He added that success of the event should also be celebrated.
We have all the joys and part frustration, but more of our celebration of the success of the event. Not necessarily the victory, but the whole success of the event, which quite the Philippines has again contributed a great happiness to the country.
Pinoy boxer Mark Sales participated in the undercard bout, unfortunately lost over his Papua New Guinean opponent. Alan Villespin, who also competed 2 years ago in Papua New Guinea, were so thankful and jubilant for the warm welcome of the organizers of this boxing match.
Masabi ko lang, nagpapasalamat din kami dahil kahit paano, tinutulungan din kami na siyempre at saka makapunta dito. Magpursige.
Boxing plays an important role in bringing Filipinos and Papua New Guineans closer. Both countries are working hand in hand to produce more boxers and to furthermore develop their boxing skills. Reporting from Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, this is Echo Hortaleza Quinola, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Echo, and a big congratulations to our Pinoy champ. And that ends today's program. Thank you for watching Eagle News International Australia Oceania. Join us next time as we share more stories from our viewers across Australia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on twitter.com/eaglenews and on facebook.com/eaglenews. Stay safe, stay strong, and take care, everyone. From Brisbane, Australia, I am Raylene Roy Xavier. Eagle News, we live in interesting times.